Alright, your boy back with a video that is very different than other videos I typically make. So we got news today. HBO came through, crushing the buildings like Prime Drogon. A bunch of stuff that, I didn't follow all of it, but they really came through with all the news, all of that, all of this, all of that, all of this. I'm gonna turn this PS4 off so you can stop hearing the fan blowing in the background, making it sound ghetto as hell. And what we got, the one of the biggest nuggets for me today, was basically the Stark series got canceled, the Longest Night or whatever it was. That's gonna pretty much talk about the Proto Starks and how the White Walkers came about, and basically anything that would absolve the stupidity of the background of the White Walkers as the TV series presented them. None of that's going to happen because it got canceled over, I believe, filming issues. But B, the Targaryen series got picked up, and I'm going to pull it up here. Essentially adapting the Fire and Blood book by George R. R. Martin. It recently came out, I believe, 2018, in November 2018. And if you don't understand how I haven't read all the books. I've actually only read like half of the first book, and that's all I got, as far as I know. But essentially, as I understand it, in the books, the Targaryen series actually seems to be slightly more important than the Stark series because the most integral, and I mean, this might be a little bit spoilers, the most integral points or lines as what's his name, Fatty Martin left it in book five is the Aegon Targaryen, young Griff, I believe his name is. Is he a true Targaryen? Obviously, Daenerys has come up as I don't believe she left Marine yet in the books, but obviously she's as she was in most of the TV show, the most important part of that as well. And obviously, I mean, Jon Snow is going to be a Targaryen in the book as well. Obviously, I don't know how they'll handle there already being an Aegon Targaryen person existing under that name. I don't know how they'll do that, but pretty much like three of the biggest figures in the book are Targaryens, and that's not including the rumors, at least as in the book, that Tyrion Lannister is also Targaryen. So maybe four of the biggest characters in the series are Targaryens. So obviously they matter more in the books. So going back into what we have currently, this series got adopted. It makes a lot more sense. It also has tangible, you know, material to work with. I believe that's important to HBO after seeing how epically season 7 and 8 kind of failed to do anything. And just to cover, essentially what I want to talk about is the three reasons or three things I want to see out of this, based on what I'm looking at right now, and based on what I can see realistically being adapted. Because this is going to be their new Game of Thrones. This is going to just be an adaptation, a spinoff. This is going to be their new probably money maker behind, maybe Euphoria and is Westworld on HBO? I don't know. Pretty much Euphoria. So going on to this, so here are so this is the first volume of Fire and Blood. I believe it's supposed to be what, two books. Another book coming out later. Let's see. Published the history in two volumes as the material. So yeah, this is the first volume. So the first volume, the Targaryen conquest. Aegon the First Targaryen's conquest of the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros. Okay, the Peace of the Dragon, Aegon's reign after his conquest. Okay, the Sons of the Dragon, and these are the sons of Aegon, King Aenys and King Maegor Targaryen. And then Aenys, I don't want to say this wrong. Aenys' son, Jaehaerys, or maybe I should say Jon Aerys, RPS. Jon Aerys Targaryen's rise. Uh, being next to finish that little saga up. And we have Heirs of the Dragon, being about 17,000 words long. It focuses on the reign of Daenerys Targaryen, the succession crisis following the death of his son. The Dying of the Dragons, being about 60,000 words in length. 60,000 words in length. It focuses on the Great Civil War known as the Dance of the Dragons. Okay. And then Aftermath, the boy and his regents, covering the first few years of the reign of Rhaenyra's son, Aegon III, I believe that's Aegon the Conqueror, when the realm was ruled by Aegon's regents. According to Garcia, it is almost as long as the Dying of the Dragons in total word count. So, the reviews aren't the most positive. Essentially, this is gonna have to be a masterclass in HBO and who they have running it. I believe I know Miguel Sapochnik, the dude who did a couple of Hard Home and The Long Night, namely, did a couple episodes for Game of Thrones. I don't. They have somebody like who's actually running this. Let me pull up right here. I believe his name is Ryan something. Ryan Condal, yeah. So the new show's co-creators are George R. R. Martin, the later George R. R. Martin, yeah, and Ryan Condal. And Condal will serve as the showrunner alongside Miguel Sapochnik. So yeah, Hard Home, Battle of the Bastards of Winter, three of the best episodes. I'll leave the last night off of the long night off of his achievements because that I believe was heavily tampered by the showrunners from the previous series, who I won't name. So I guess I'll just talk about the article Insider.com speaking on some of the ideas for this. So it announced Tuesday evening that it's given a 10-episode straight to series order for House of the Dragon. 300 years before Game of Thrones, and they have a little artwork release. I'll leave some of these links in the description so you can go over them yourselves. So the Targaryen logo and the House of the Dragon and stylization of the Game of Thrones. We direct the pilot and additional episodes. So blah blah blah. Not really much else to show as it looks like. But that's pretty much what we got going on. I guess I'll start giving my takes to it. So the first thing, I think is the most important thing, they have to first find, I guess at least one person that we'll be able to just like look to and be like, okay, this person is just instantly likable. That was Sean Bean for the first Game of Thrones one. And then eventually Sean Bean's like he's kind of like the latter originally. And then we started getting, Richard Madden and Kit Harington and Emilia Clarke. I guess some people would say Sophie Turner. Maisie Williams was great. Jamie Lannister, I forgot who Jamie Lannister was his name. I forgot his real life name. Lena Headey. Those types. We need somebody initially to be that face. And I'm hoping, I don't know how this works, like as far as like, it's 10 episodes they got right now, right? But they have 5 arcs that they want to cover if they're following the books. And they want to finish off with Dance of the Dragons. However, the problem with this is that these are 5 distinctly long periods of time. Or 5 periods of time that are in a pretty distinctly long time span. So I'm not sure how we find somebody that works for each season. I'm assuming that these 10 episodes are going to be for like one particular arc. So I guess at best it'll have to be like a what's the word I'm looking for? A Black Mirror type where, well, not even Black Mirror because that's different for each episode, but like True Detective. That's what I want to say. True Detective, where each season is going to be essentially its own different series. They're going to have the same tonality and stuff like that, and they're going to build on top of each other, but they're going to be essentially their own series each season. So it's going to be tough. I mean, they're going to have to prove themselves with that first season. They're going to have to come out guns blazing. And I mean, these are generally some of the same people involved that made season 1 work immediately. I mean, season 1, episode 1 was great. I mean, you had the guy getting excommunicated and then killed for abandoning the black. I mean, that worked immediately. Sean Bean worked immediately. Robert Baratheon worked immediately. I mean, the Lannisters worked immediately. I mean, it should theoretically be able to do the same thing. So here are my 3 things. I'm going to lead them off. Well, that was one of them. Just find a good lead star that can carry it until they start working diversity in. Because a lot of people are going to die just like they died in the original one. People just die in George R. R. Martin's world. Second one, gonna be some titties. Now that's not me being some horny, 10-year-old on the internet just looking at a pair of breasts and just losing his mind. But I do think it's important for us to have some of that raunchiness that we had in the early parts of Game of Thrones. And it feels, and maybe just causation doesn't equal correlation. I understand that, but it feels like when they took some of the raunchiness off of Game of Thrones, it became cleaner and it became worse. That may just be my 2 cents going awry. But when you think about some of the brutality of some of the earlier parts of that season, now maybe nothing's more brutal than Daenerys burning down the entire King's Landing, but seeing what's this ugly ass Joffrey Lannister, not Baratheon, he's not Baratheon. Joffrey Lannister choking, them, what's his name? The mountain like slicing a horse in half, stuff like that. I mean, we need some raunchiness, and I think the breasts are one way to go about doing that. I Some of my best memories or the seasons that had breasts in them. Just to be honest with you, hell, I mean, they shouldn't be scared to do something like the Sansa rape scene. I mean, I think that was. Some people say it's a shock value. I thought it was done in such a way to show how evil that Ramsay Bolton was, because I mean, Ramsay did some awful things, like, but things you could laugh off, like when he chopped off Theon's peenie. That was something that laughed off the next scene, and we literally saw him make a badly timed joke. I mean, you can't laugh off that Sansa scene. That's when we knew Ramsay was the Sosuke Aizen of TV. I mean, he was brutal. The What's that dude from Guts from Berserk? No, not Guts. The other dude that everybody always says he did nothing wrong. Griffin, the Griffin of TV. So we got it. We're gonna need some shock value, and I think we're gonna need a lot of that with how deranged the Targaryens are supposed to be. I think you just need it. I mean, that just works to show the audience that they are what they are. I mean, not just do it wildly, like, I don't know, showing the mountain and, beating the life out the Martell kids, but like, just do it tastefully, but do it. And then third, they're gonna need to connect this. I mean, this is a little bit like just me not liking change. I want some visions to the forward, to what was the present, of present Targaryens, to kind of give us a feel that this is like kind of connected to it's basically me asking to connect this show 300 years ago before the show we got, and then make the two connect, which it shouldn't. For artistic purposes, there should be no allusions to the current Game of Thrones world in this series. However, I do think it would succeed easier if they did like give you like a one-off, like, it doesn't have to be like necessarily like Daenerys and Viserys. It can be like behind their time, like, the Mad King, or some of his brothers and sisters, maybe a generation up. But they need to connect. They need to make some references to the timeline that's established, to the family tree that's established, and just give us a couple of Daenerys references. That's essentially what I want. I want some Daenerys references. Now, that was dimly veiled by me, but I want some Daenerys references at least once a season. Now, they don't have to do it often, but they need to give me they need to let me see Emilia Clarke a couple more times before the series ends. And that's it for me. I do believe that by the end of this, we will get to not... this is my opinion. This is just my prediction. I think we will see... Because it's going to have Dance of Dragons, which is the Blackfires against the Targaryens. I think we'll see young Aegon Targaryen versus Daenerys Targaryen. That is my prediction. I think we will somehow circumvent the events of pretty much season 5 on, and then get the events of the current, of what will be book 6 and book 7 as a tie-in to the final season of wherever this show goes. I think we'll get Daenerys against Aegon Targaryen, and then we'll have Jon Snow throw in, and we will completely redact season 7 and 8. That is my prediction. See y'all